Have you ever walked into a room and noticed that the simplest person often holds the greatest presence? No luxury brands, no loud words, just a calm and uncluttered aura that draws attention without asking for it. In a world that keeps shouting for more, minimalism whispers with quiet strength. And people listen. Many of us live surrounded by excess, yet still feel empty inside. We chase possessions, titles, and endless noise, hoping they will prove our worth. But deep down, we know the opposite is true. The less we carry, the more we shine. Today, you and I will take a journey into minimalism, a path where fewer distractions mean greater clarity, where cutting away the unnecessary makes room for presence, freedom, and real connection. Are you ready to discover that less can truly become more? Strategy 1. Declutter your inner and outer world. Minimalism begins with a simple truth. You cannot build peace on top of clutter. When your home is filled with objects you no longer need, and your mind is filled with thoughts that no longer serve you, the weight becomes unbearable. Many people spend years carrying this invisible burden without realizing it is the very reason they feel exhausted, restless, and disconnected. Imagine standing in a room where every corner is crowded, shelves overflowing, papers stacked high, clothes you never wear still hanging on hooks. Even if you try to rest, your eyes keep searching, your mind keeps racing. The clutter does not stay on the floor. It creeps into your head, and soon you begin to feel that same chaos inside. Now imagine another room. Nothing unnecessary, only the essentials that truly support your life. A chair, a desk, a soft light, a few items that carry real meaning. The space feels calm. You feel calm. This is the power of decluttering. It is not about having nothing. It is about creating space for what matters. Decluttering your outer world naturally declutters your inner world. When you let go of objects that no longer bring value, you begin to see the same pattern with your thoughts. Old grudges, fears, and expectations can be released just like a broken item you no longer use. Each time you let go, you are telling yourself, "I deserve clarity. I deserve peace." But this is not a one-time event. Decluttering is a practice, a rhythm of living. The world will always try to add more into your life. More emails, more purchases, more distractions. Minimalism teaches you to pause and ask one question. Does this serve me, or does it weigh me down? That single question is the filter that protects your freedom. Remember this. Every time you remove one item, one commitment, or one destructive thought, you are not losing anything. You are gaining space, attention, and energy. And in that space, the presence of your true self begins to grow. Others will notice it. They will see a person not consumed by chaos, but defined by clarity. That is the beginning of real respect, and the first step on the path of minimalism. Strategy 2. Embrace empty space. Minimalism is not only about removing what is unnecessary, it is about honoring the space that remains. Empty space is not a loss, it is a gift. In a culture where every corner must be filled, every moment scheduled, and every silence replaced by noise, embracing emptiness becomes a radical act of freedom. Think about the last time you sat in a quiet room. No television, no buzzing phone, no background chatter. At first, the silence might feel strange, even uncomfortable, because we are conditioned to believe that stillness means something is missing. But if you stay in that silence, something remarkable begins to happen. Your breathing slows, your thoughts become clearer. You start to hear not the noise of the world, but the voice of your own life speaking back to you. Empty space in your surroundings creates empty space in your mind. A bare wall can bring more peace than a wall covered in distractions. An uncluttered desk allows you to focus deeply instead of scattering your energy across dozens of tasks. Even your calendar benefits. When you leave hours unscheduled, you reclaim the ability to rest, reflect, or act with intention. This is not wasted time. It is time finally lived. The world will often tell you that emptiness must be filled, that silence must be broken, that space must be used. But minimalism flips that belief upside down. In emptiness lies possibility. In silence lies strength. In space lies the chance for new meaning to emerge. Consider the Japanese concept of ma, which describes the beauty of the pause, the value of the gap between things. Music is not only notes, but also the silence that makes the notes powerful. Life is not only what we do, but also the quiet between actions that gives them weight. When you embrace empty space, you no longer fear the absence of things. You discover that absence can be presence itself. A quiet home becomes a sanctuary. An open calendar becomes a chance to breathe. And you yourself become a person who radiates calmness because you are no longer overcrowded by what does not matter. To live minimally is to understand this truth. You do not need to fill every moment or every shelf. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can offer the world is the quiet strength of space itself. Strategy 3. Guard your attention. Time is precious, but even more fragile is attention. In the modern world, our attention is stolen every minute by buzzing notifications, endless scrolling, and the constant demand to consume. We often say we do not have enough time, but the truth is we have surrendered our attention. And when attention is lost, life itself feels scattered. Imagine starting your morning with a clear mind. The sunlight enters the room. You sip your coffee slowly, and your thoughts are calm. Now imagine another morning. Before even standing up, you reach for your phone. Within seconds, you are pulled into news, arguments, advertisements, and noise. By the time you put the phone down, your energy is already drained, and the day has not even begun. This is what happens when you let the world spend your attention for you. Minimalism calls us to guard attention the way we would guard our most valuable treasure. Because what you give attention to becomes your life. Every time you say yes to one distraction, you are saying no to focus, no to presence, no to meaning. Guarding attention begins with awareness. Notice what constantly pulls you away. Is it the endless stream of messages? Is it the clutter of open tabs on your computer? Is it the habit of saying yes to every request until your own goals disappear? Awareness allows you to see that your attention is a currency, and you have the power to decide where it flows. Next, create boundaries. Turn off unnecessary notifications. Designate times for digital use. Protect spaces in your home where screens are not allowed. These are not rules to punish yourself. They are shields to protect your clarity. Most importantly, direct your attention toward what nourishes you. A deep conversation, a walk outside, a book that challenges your mind, a project that expresses your values. When you choose these over the noise, life feels richer not because you did more, but because you gave yourself to what truly matters. The philosopher Seneca once wrote that life is long if you know how to use it. Minimalism takes this further. Life is meaningful if you know how to focus it. Guard your attention fiercely, because wherever your attention rests, that is where your life grows. Strategy 4. Practice. Mindful presence. Minimalism is not only about what you remove from your life, it is about how deeply you live with what remains. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself and others is mindful presence, the ability to be fully here, not divided by distractions or pulled away by noise. Think about the last time you had a conversation with someone who was not really listening. Their eyes drifted to their phone. Their mind seemed elsewhere. Even if they nodded, you felt unseen. Now think about the opposite. Someone looked you in the eye, heard every word, and responded with care. The difference is not subtle. Presence communicates respect. Presence communicates love. In a world where multitasking is celebrated, presence is rare. But minimalism teaches us that doing less allows us to give more. When you stop trying to be everywhere, you can finally be somewhere. When you let go of endless tasks, you can give your whole heart to the moment in front of you. Practicing mindful presence begins with attention to your own breath. Each inhale and exhale brings you back to now. When you walk, notice the sound of your steps. When you eat, taste every bite without rushing. When you talk with someone, listen not only to their words, but also to the silence between their words. These small practices are reminders that life is not waiting for you somewhere else. It is unfolding right here. Presence also means putting aside the illusion of performance. You do not need to impress by talking louder or showing off. Sometimes the quiet attention you give is more powerful than any speech. By being present, you create space for others to feel safe, valued, and understood. And this is how respect grows naturally, not from demand, but from connection. Minimalism clears the noise so that presence can shine. When the clutter of objects and distractions fades, your relationships deepen. People remember not the things you owned, but the way you made them feel seen. To practice mindful presence is to honor the moment as enough. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, just now. In that simplicity, life becomes fuller than you ever imagined. Strategy 5. Choose essentials to master. Minimalism is not about doing nothing. It is about choosing carefully what deserves your energy and then going deep instead of wide. In a culture that worships multitasking and celebrates endless skills, we often forget that mastery comes not from spreading ourselves thin, but from focusing on essentials. Think about the shelves of books you once bought with good intentions but never read. Think about the hobbies started but abandoned, the apps downloaded and forgotten, the goals written and ignored. Each unfinished attempt is a fragment of your energy scattered across too many directions. No wonder life feels restless. Now imagine the opposite. Choosing just a few essentials to dedicate yourself to. Instead of dabbling in 10 languages, you learn one deeply enough to understand its poetry. Instead of juggling 5 different careers, you pour yourself into one path until it becomes not only skill, but art. Instead of chasing every passing trend, you anchor yourself in what truly resonates with your values. This focus is minimalism at work. It transforms scattered effort into lasting excellence. The Stoics once said that it is not that we have little time, but that we waste much of it. The minimalist adds, it is not that we lack ability, but that we scatter it. By choosing essentials, you can serve your energy, sharpen your talent, and give your life direction. But how do you choose what to master? Begin with questions. Does this pursuit align with my values? Does it bring me alive, or does it drain me? If I remove this, will I lose something meaningful, or will I gain freedom? Let these questions act as filters. What remains after the unnecessary falls away is worth devoting yourself to. Mastery does not mean perfection. It means depth. It means walking the same path long enough to discover truths hidden from the surface. The potter who shapes clay daily, the teacher who refines wisdom year after year, the parent who shows up with patience again and again. This is mastery born from essentials. Minimalism is not an enemy of ambition. It is ambition refined. By choosing essentials to master, you build a life not of endless noise, but of lasting strength. And in that strength, others see not distraction, but clarity, not excess, but wisdom. Strategy 6. Live aligned with your values. Minimalism is not just about removing things, it is about making sure what remains truly reflects who you are. Living aligned with your values means choosing a life that mirrors your deepest beliefs rather than one shaped by external expectations. It is one of the most liberating steps in the minimalist journey. Many people live as if on a stage, wearing clothes they think will impress, buying objects they believe will prove success, chasing goals that were never really theirs. The result is exhaustion, because when you live outside your values, every action costs more than it gives. You end each day drained, unsure of who you are becoming. Now picture the opposite. Imagine waking up each morning and knowing your choices are consistent with your principles. The work you do feels purposeful. The relationships you keep are genuine. The possessions you own actually serve you. There is no contradiction between your inner world and the life you present outside. This is authenticity born from alignment. Living this way requires courage. The world will always pressure you to fit in, to buy more, to prove yourself through appearances. But minimalism asks you to pause and ask, does this choice honor who I am, or does it betray me? When you consistently choose what honors your values, you carve out a life that feels solid and unshakable. Think of Patrick, a designer who once shaped his career around market trends. His work sold, but his passion vanished. The day he chose to follow his own artistic vision, he felt alive again. Clients noticed. His authenticity created respect more powerful than any imitation. His life became not only successful, but meaningful. Your values are your compass. Without them, you drift from trend to trend, approval to approval. With them, even when storms come, you remain steady. You cannot live minimally if your life is crowded with contradictions. Alignment is the true decluttering of the soul. Minimalism is more than clean spaces and fewer things. It is about a life that fits you like a second skin. When what you believe matches how you live, you radiate clarity. And that clarity inspires others to respect not just what you do, but who you are. Strategy 7. Protect solitude. Minimalism is not only about the objects you own. It is also about the spaces you protect for yourself. In a world that constantly demands connection, solitude has become rare, yet it is one of the most powerful forms of nourishment. Protecting solitude means creating boundaries where your mind can breathe and your soul can rest without interruption. Think of a candle burning in the middle of a storm. Without shelter, the flame flickers and fades. Your inner flame works the same way. If you never step away from the noise, your clarity weakens. But when you guard solitude, even a few quiet moments, that flame grows stronger, steady enough to guide your path. Many people fear solitude because they mistake it for loneliness. Loneliness is the pain of being disconnected from others. Solitude is the strength of being deeply connected to yourself. In solitude, You hear the thoughts that rush too quickly in crowded spaces. You notice feelings you have ignored. You discover not only what you want to escape from, but what you want to move toward. Minimalism teaches that just as your home needs empty space, your life needs quiet space. You do not have to fill every evening with gatherings, every morning with screens, or every pause with conversation. Protect a portion of your day where silence is allowed to exist. Walk without headphones. Sit without a phone. Wake up early enough to hear the world before it shouts. Protecting solitude also means being selective about what you share. In an age of oversharing, mystery has become rare. When you keep parts of yourself private, you preserve dignity and curiosity. You remind others that depth cannot always be displayed. It must be experienced. The greatest thinkers, artists, and leaders throughout history valued solitude because they knew it was not an escape, but a workshop. A place where ideas form, where strength renews, where the heart prepares to return to the world with clarity. When you guard solitude, you are not cutting yourself off from life. You are preserving the very ground from which life grows. In the silence of solitude, minimalism becomes more than an idea. It becomes a living presence, calm and unshakable, waiting inside you. Strategy 8. Resist consumer noise. Minimalism is not only about the things you choose to keep. It is also about the endless noise you choose to resist. Everywhere you turn, someone is telling you to buy more, upgrade more, own more. Advertisements shout from billboards, screens, and even conversations with friends who measure worth by possessions. This constant noise does not just take your money, it takes your peace. Think of how quickly desire can be planted. You see an ad for the latest phone, and suddenly the one in your hand feels outdated. You scroll through pictures of someone's perfect home, and suddenly your own space feels inadequate. Consumer culture thrives on this feeling of lack. It convinces you that you are never enough until you buy something new. But the truth is the opposite. The more you chase, the emptier you feel. Minimalism breaks this cycle by teaching restraint. When you resist consumer noise, you remind yourself that value is not found in the next purchase. Value is already in the life you have. You learn to pause before buying, to ask yourself if this item truly adds meaning, or if it is just another distraction dressed as fulfillment. Most of the time, the answer becomes clear. You do not need it. Resisting consumer noise is not about rejecting all modern life. It is about making conscious choices. It means recognizing the tricks of marketing, the endless promises of happiness sold in shiny packaging, and refusing to let them control you. It means keeping your money, your space, and most importantly, your attention for what truly matters. The irony is that when you stop trying to keep up, you actually move ahead. Your home becomes lighter, your finances freer, your spirit calmer. People around you notice not the things you lack, but the strength you carry. A strength that says, I am already enough. Consumer noise will never stop. But your response can change. Each time you choose silence over sales pitches, each time you walk away from what you do not need, you reclaim a piece of your freedom. That is the heart of minimalism, resisting the world's noise so you can finally hear your own life clearly. Strategy 9. Find joy in less. Minimalism is not about deprivation. It is about discovering joy where the world tells you there should be none. In a culture built on the idea that more is better, it may seem impossible to believe that less could ever be enough. Yet when you strip away the excess, something extraordinary appears. You begin to see that happiness has never been hiding in the pile of possessions. It has always been hiding in simplicity. Think of the small moments you remember most clearly. A quiet walk at sunset, a laugh with a friend, a meal prepared with love. None of these required endless purchases or constant upgrades. Their power came from being pure, uncluttered, and real. Minimalism invites you to build a life made of these moments, not of objects that fade in excitement the moment they are unwrapped. Finding joy in less also means learning gratitude. When you have fewer things, you begin to cherish them more deeply. The clothes you wear carry memories. The books on your shelf reflect lessons that shaped you. Even the empty spaces in your home become a source of peace. Each object is no longer competing for your attention. Each one has room to matter. But the real joy of minimalism is freedom. Freedom from debt. Freedom from endless comparison. Freedom from the weight of managing and maintaining what you never truly needed. This freedom gives you back time. It gives you back energy. And it gives you back the ability to notice beauty in places you once overlooked. Minimalism teaches that less is not the end of abundance. It is the beginning of abundance. When you no longer need constant novelty to feel alive, every simple moment becomes a treasure. Drinking water on a hot day. Waking up in a clean room. Talking without distraction. These are riches money cannot buy. The world will always tempt you with more. But joy is not waiting in the next purchase. It is waiting in the life you already have. By choosing less, you open the door to seeing more, and that vision brings a deeper happiness than any store could ever offer. Strategy 10. Sustain minimalism. Through discipline. Minimalism is not a weekend project. It is not something you try for a month before slipping back into old habits. Minimalism is a discipline, a steady rhythm of choosing less so that you can live more. Without discipline, the clutter always returns. The noise always creeps back in. And soon, the peace you created begins to vanish. Think about how quickly possessions can multiply. A few small purchases, a few unexamined commitments, and suddenly your home feels heavy again, your schedule overcrowded, your mind restless. Minimalism is not just the act of decluttering once. It is the practice of protecting your space, your time, and your spirit every single day. Discipline begins with awareness. Each time you bring something new into your life, ask yourself, does this serve me? Or does this weigh me down? Each time you feel tempted by distraction, pause and remember the freedom you have already earned. Minimalism is not about saying no to everything. It is about saying yes with intention, over and over, until your choices align with the life you truly want. This discipline is not harsh. It is gentle but firm, like a river shaping stone over time. It does not punish you for mistakes, but it reminds you to return to the path when you wander. Discipline teaches that progress is not perfection. Progress is persistence. The reward of this persistence is resilience. When you sustain minimalism, you no longer crumble under the weight of change. You adapt with grace because your life is not anchored in excess, but in clarity. People notice this strength. They see a person who does not panic when the world grows chaotic, because you have already learned to live with less and thrive. Minimalism becomes stronger each time you practice it. With every decision to let go, with every choice to simplify, you build a foundation that no trend, no pressure, and no storm can easily shake. Discipline turns minimalism from a lifestyle experiment into a lifelong source of freedom. And when you live this way, others will not only respect your clarity, they will be inspired by it. Because discipline in minimalism is not just about owning less. It is about living fully, intentionally, and without compromise. We have walked together through 10 powerful strategies of minimalism, each one a reminder that life does not become richer through excess, but through clarity. By decluttering your world, embracing space, guarding your attention, living with presence, mastering the essentials, aligning with your values, protecting solitude, resisting consumer noise, finding joy in less, and sustaining discipline, you are not just changing your environment. You are changing the very way you experience life. Minimalism is not about sacrifice. It is about freedom. Freedom to choose what matters. Freedom to live with intention. And freedom to become fully present in your own story. If this journey has inspired you, leave a comment sharing what you are ready to let go of. Like this video, share it with someone who needs peace, and subscribe to continue walking this path with us. Together we can build lives defined not by more, but by enough.